I have a dinner jacket.
There are dinner jackets and dinner jackets. This is the latter, and I need you looking like a man who belongs at that table.
How the... It's tailored.
I sized you up the moment we met.
I have always admired the art of style in cinema. For over 2.5 decades of my life, I have learned from countless style icons in films. The classic elegance from the golden age of Hollywood, the sophisticated style from Ian Fleming's James Bond 007, or the European flair from mid-century French and Italian film cinemas is the essential source of inspiration for how I interpret my style. But it was not an instant adaptation. Although I was exposed to the certain kind of style I saw from many male characters in films, I did not know the exact things to wear or dare to pull them off in modern days, where jackets and pleated trousers are obsolete. But no matter how much I tried to blend in with other people around my age by wearing oversized, flashy streetwear, it just didn't feel right. In 2021, when I decided to go for a night out at an upscale jazz bar in CBD area, which required a smart casual dress, I wore a sports jacket for the first time. And even though that jacket is not an ideal for me right now to wear it since it just a fused construction, has a fake chest pocket, and is too long at the sleeve, and also made from polyester, it was the first time that I experienced the sense of sophistication that no streetwear garment could give me. The style that has stood the test of time for a century, the style that allows individuals to experience the art of tailoring, and the style that gives one deeper meaning and substance over superficial beauty. The name of it is the sartorial style. Fast forward 3 years later, I can firmly say that this style changed my life. It gives me a sense of elegance, gratefulness, and sophistication that allows me to dress at my best, be at my best, and finally, be different from other men around my age. To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. Ralph Waldo Emerson. You might have this kind of experience in life. The inner desire to find your own place, to differentiate yourself from others, and become a true individual who does not just blend in without any free will to think for yourself. And guess what, gentlemen? Dressing style is the easiest way to fulfill that need. If you like me and get style inspiration from icons, whether they are fictional characters or real-life people, you will face the fact that it is not easy to just dress like these outliers. For example, in my case, the reason why I'm so drawn to characters in films is that they represent a certain way of life that I aspire to live. For James Bond, he represents the exciting adventure of masculinity. For Hollywood Golden Age films, they represent glamour and elegance of bygone era. And for French and Italian mid-century films, they represent realistic sophistication. The thing is, none of this is accessible through the modern mundane life that I'm currently living. So basically, they give me access to a better life. Of course, you might think, wait, Patrick, isn't this escapism I'm hearing? Well, the answer might be yes, if I were just mindlessly watching them and copying their dressing style without diving deeper into the substance behind it. But the thing is, gentlemen, there's a term called enclothed cognition, the systematic influence that clothes have on the various psychological process. We all associate meaning with each item of clothing, and that association can directly affect our state of mind. For example, let's look at the all-time classic menswear garment, the suit. What do you think of it? Banker, junior sleazy salesman, 1980s executive, sacred formal garment, or just daily gentleman's attire? Your interpretation of a suit will directly affect your perspective and state of mind, giving you that exact feeling when you're wearing one. If you see suits as garments that should be worn for formal events only, of course you will feel weird wearing one on a daily basis. But if you see it as a daily gentleman's attire, then there won't be any problem. So what will happen when you associate the sense of sophistication, glamour, and excitement with clothes that Sean Connery, Cary Grant, or Alain Delon wear in films? Gentlemen, we can directly tap into those virtues by knowing the substance beyond the style they're wearing. And the result? In my case, this gives me the uniqueness I crave, the differentiation from other men, and the self-actualization of being an elegant man in the modern world, which is needed more than ever. So yes, it's possible to change the way you perceive yourself and fulfill your need for uniqueness by just changing the way you dress. The next interesting part we're going to look at is the challenge of dressing well in the modern world. which is likely to be a huge mental toughness for aspiring modern gentlemen these days. Although the world needs elegance more than ever, most people aren't aware of it. Then, an amusing experiment that confirms my statement. Gentlemen, the next time you're out of your place, whether it's for grocery shopping, business in town, or a casual day out, try to dress up one scale above your usual attire. Perhaps right now your go-to daily attire is a casual shirt with chinos and sneakers. Try putting on an unnecessarily layering garment like a sport jacket or blazer, if you have one, and see what happens. I bet you will get one of these responses from those around you.
Wait, where are you going?
Or something like,
Hey, are you crazy dressing like that?
for nonconformity, the world whims you with its displeasure. Another quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson. When you stand out with a unique virtue, although it seems desirable for human, you will get pushback from them. Because most people in this overly casual modern world tie their identity to casualness. Although there's a deep desire for them to dress up elegantly, they just don't do it. And then suddenly, there's someone who dares to do what they fear. Someone who represents the what-if scenarios of how elegantly they could be if they dress up like that. But instead of embracing it, they will try their best to pull that gentleman down to their level. This is the ugly truth of dressing elegantly in the modern society, which hold many men back from embracing the style they want to embody. Yet, if this is what your soul is calling, gentlemen, if it is the right thing to do, I don't see why you should not go for it. The fact, after you have gone through a phase that I would love to call the initial pushback from mediocrity, you will experience another facet of life. You will know the taste of dressing and being elegant like a gentleman from the early to mid-20th century, and you probably won't want to go back to being the same. Elegance and sophistication used to be mandatory in the early 20th century era, often referred to the golden age of Hollywood. Back in those days, you wouldn't find people wearing pajamas on public transport or sports attire in restaurants. A lounge suit was the essential garment for public appearance. Tuxedos were the expected dress code when entering a high-end restaurant. Even on a summer leisure day, the gentlemen of the golden age still kept their attire polished. When they dressed at their best, they felt at their best. And when they felt at their best, they treat others at their best. The real virtue of classic gentlemen is not just the way they dress, although it's certainly something we all admire, but it's the way they behave and treat others. Since you'll probably notice the issues of loneliness and social awkwardness in modern society, this is why classic gentleman virtue of elegance, both external and internal, is more crucial than ever. I already explained this idea in depth in my last video, so you could consider watching it after finishing this one. When you dress in a classic manner, you will automatically behave like a classic gentleman. You will speak with more humility and walk with more awareness. How do I know? Because that's what has happened in my life. With this style called sartorial, even for an ordinary middle-class Southeast Asian man like me, it's opened the gate to the life of a classic gentleman. Sartorial style is the gateway to elegance, the lost virtue of the modern era. If you haven't heard of the term sartorial before, you probably wonder, wait Patrick, what does this style mean exactly? Is it the same as classic style or something like quiet luxury or old money that's been hyped on the internet over the past year? Well, gentlemen, I guess I owe you an explanation of both the terminology and the rationale behind why sartorial style is the easiest way to tap into the essence of virtues of a classic gentleman. Based on the Universal Dictionary definition, sartorial is an adjective that relates to the tailoring of clothing, mostly for menswear. Rooted in the Italian word sartor, which means tailored, it's quite clear that the term sartorial is mainly about the essence of tailoring and the art of dressing well. Now, let's discuss the difference between sartorial style and other related terms like classic style, quiet luxury, or the old money aesthetic. The sartorial style is based on the classic style. In other words, every garment considered sartorial is a classic piece of menswear that has undergone craftsmanship and tailoring process, reflecting individual style. That's why when you search for or think of a term sartorial, you will see an image of Neapolitan gentlemen wearing distinct suits, pastel-colored shirts, and sophisticated leather footwear. It's about crafting a classic menswear garment into one's personal identity. Here's a great description to explain this topic further. Sartorial elegance is not just about the clothes, it's about how you wear them and the confidence they give you. Alan Fusser, the author of Dressing the Man. The main difference between sartorial style and other internet viral terms like quiet luxury or the old money aesthetic is all about the individuality and classical elements. For quiet luxury, it's mainly about garments from high fashion brands that use high quality materials and craftsmanship without showing off their brands. However, this doesn't mean it will be classic menswear. For the old money aesthetic, it's about the mindset and lifestyle of aristocrats or some kind of high society people who have no insecurity about showing off how rich, successful, and high status they are. They likely opt for garments with high quality craftsmanship and materials. But again, this doesn't mean those garments will reflect personality or be considered classic menswear. While quiet luxury and old money aesthetic focus on high quality materials and understate elegance, they don't necessarily prioritize the classical or individual elements inherent in sartorial style. But for your interest, this is my personal interpretation. If you have further suggestions, gentlemen, feel free to share in the comment section. Now that we have clarity on the meaning of sartorial style, let's see why it's so effective as a bridge to elegance and limited sense to the virtues of the Golden Age gentleman. To rationalize this idea, let me repeat the concept of enclosed cognition once more. When we associate meaning with each item of clothing, that association can directly affect our state of mind. My question for you is, what kind of clothes did the gentlemen of the Golden Age wear? Yes, it was the classic menswear that reflected their unique style. Basically, a sartorial style. When you put on a tailored jacket, fitted dress shirt, and proper trousers made of wool, you can't help but feel like a classic gentleman, because that's exactly how they dress. Another reason why this style can easily make you more elegant than others is its inherent natures. First, the high quality reflected through craftsmanship and natural material. Second, a personalization through fitting, customization, and individual expression. Third, the timelessness through proven aesthetic for centuries and longevity that lasts for decades. These qualities all reflect a sense of elegance, a subtle art of allure without any neediness to show off. Although I'm basically a newbie in this industry compared to well-known figures like Simon Clopton from Permanent Style or Monsieur Jacome from Parisian Gentleman, I have discovered the 6 sartorial aspects that have leveled up my style and transformed the way I dress. So gentlemen, if you're ready to change the way you dress towards a sartorial style but aren't sure where to start, I hope these 6 aspects will be beneficial for you. First, it all starts with leather footwear as daily shoes. I used to be like most men in the 21st century where sneakers are the norm for everyday wear and leather shoes are reserved for specific formal occasion only. Why not, right? Sneakers are more comfortable, modern, and trendy, unlike leather shoes that are ready to pinch your feet at any second. Until I discovered the world of shoemaking and the beauty of the leather shoes that no sneakers can give me. When I was still in college, I didn't have the financial means to spare $500 or thousands on shoes. Under $100 was my only option. At that time, the sartorial movement in Bangkok, Thailand, where I live, was still a really small niche. So the options were quite limited, yet it was a decision that I do not regret at all. My first pair was a dark brown hospital loafers, originally designed by the Italian high fashion brand Gucci. But these were just an inspired design. They cost me around $70 and believe it or not, they last for almost 5 years. Longer than any sneaker I owned before their soles tore apart. This horse-bit loafer introduced me to the world of sartorial. It taught me the importance of craftsmanship, the versatility that easily integrate with daily life, and the individuality reflected through shoe style. By changing only my footwear from sneakers to this horse-bit loafer, my overall ensemble was significantly enhanced. So if you want to start your sartorial journey from scratch, changing your footwear to leather shoes is a great initiative. And gentlemen, if you're wondering which kind of leather shoes to look for, here's my quick idea. If you decide that in your life you want to own only one pair of leather shoes, though I doubt you will if you step into the sartorial world, but I would recommend the black loafers are the ones that will assist you along the way. if you're concerned about appropriateness and have the resource to spare, one pair of black Oxfords and one pair of brown loafers is my current combination that takes me to literally any occasion and place in the world. But since you're likely to live in the western part of the world, perhaps for brown leather shoes, a derby might also suit you better. And if you're really concerned about the uncomfortable and overly formal elements of leather shoes, there are modern options like sport moccasins with suede leather in the upper part and rubber at the sole, which can directly replace the role of sneakers once and for all. I know how complex it is when it comes to selecting leather shoes when you're not familiar with it yet. So if you have any question, please feel free to leave them in the comment section and I will do my best, and perhaps other viewers too. The second breakthrough aspect that drew me deeply into the sartorial world is high-waisted trousers with pleats and cuff hems. When I watched James Bond Dr. No in 1962, starring Sean Connery, I was intrigued by the trousers he wore in the film. They were so unique and felt much more comfortable compared to the modern-day trouser I was wearing at the time. You know, the roll-rise skinny fit that most men wear today. After 2 years of studying this journey, absorbing more and more classic aesthetic from golden age of Hollywood films and the trousers that many influencers in the modern sartorial world wear, I went to a local tailoring atelier and commissioned my first pair of made-to-measure trousers. The experience of commissioning a garment for the first time was unmatched. The fact that I could customize the fabric, the cut, and various details of the trousers, it's quite addictive even to this day. When I got my hands on this garment, the first feeling of wearing it was a pure enlightenment. I subconsciously said to the sales associate there, why did I have to suffer from a modern low-rise skinny trousers for over a decade when I could have something like this? It was a pair of high-waisted medium grey wool trousers with a single backward pleat and cuff hems. High-waisted mean a higher rise and a higher rise means more room for comfort. Pleated trousers provide extra room and flexibility, and cuff hems adds weight to the bottom of the trousers, helping them drape better and stay in place. Gentlemen, if you haven't experienced the aesthetic and the comfort that classic trousers can provide, I highly recommend trying a pair. Although it can be hard to find ready-to-wear brands that sell these kinds of trousers, depending on where you live. In Bangkok right now, there are many niche brands that sells them with price starting around just $70. But beware, once you try them, you probably won't want to go back to wearing modern-rise skinny fit trousers again. The next piece that transformed my style is a high-quality tailor jacket. If there was a significant mistake I made in my sartorial journey, is that I couldn't separate a low-quality jacket from a high-quality one. I perhaps spent more than $500 on cheap suits and jackets made from wool blend fabric with fused construction and no sign of craftsmanship. What's funny is that these kind of suits and jackets are what most men wear on the streets these days, so high-quality tailoring can easily set you apart from others. In the world of sartorial style, a jacket is probably the most complex and sophisticated garment among others, considering the countless details within. From the button configuration and numbers, from the type and size of lapel to shoulder construction, and the list goes on and on. That's why commissioning a made-to-measure or bespoke jacket could cost you from $1,000 to $10,000 depending on the tailoring house. While I can't precisely give you the exact brands and style for jackets since it's quite dependent on your preference and geography, here are my personal criteria to consider a high-quality tailored jacket. First, it fits your body well. Second, it's constructed with canvassing. If not, have no construction at all. Third, it must be made from natural materials. Fourth, has some kind of significant sign of handmade craftsmanship. And fifth, customized shoulder construction. Of course, gentlemen, you don't have to check all these boxes to consider a jacket high quality, since these are just my personal criteria. But please, just make sure it's not made with fused construction, has poor fitting, and has a standard overly padded shoulder. That'll be more than enough. And speaking of details of a high quality jacket, this leads us to the next sartorial aspect, the sophistication of natural fabrics. One thing that drives me mad every time I see modern fashion brands, and especially women's wear, is that they don't even consider using cotton for garments. Nowadays, you see polyester, rayon, and viscose synthetic materials in clothes as a normal thing. Of course, for sportswear, I totally understand since it needs to be functional and performance-oriented. But what has happened, gentlemen, is these synthetic materials are blending into every type of garments, from t-shirts, trousers, dress shirts, socks, or even jackets. And if you don't care about environmental problems, I must say that these synthetic fabrics reduce the level of sophistication in your attire. When you reach a certain level in your sartorial journey, you can easily spot the sheen, dryness, and softness of fabrics, which directly affect the overall aesthetic. There are 3 main types of fabric you should look for when investing in new garments, or even checking your current clothes in your closet right now. Cotton, linen, and wool. Try to aim for the pure composition of these natural materials as much as possible. But in the complexity of the sartorial world, there are many more advanced levels of fabric, such as blends between cotton and wool or linen and wool. Also, the weave techniques that can transform from mere cotton into Oxford cloth. If you are new to this world, cotton, linen, and wool are your best friend for now. When you have a wardrobe made from a pure natural materials, you will get both sophisticated sense and longevity in your garments, ensuring they will serve you for a long time. Now, let's move towards something concrete enough to observe: the sartorial accessories. I must admit that I used to be a guy who hated wearing accessories, except a wristwatch. But after a few years in the sartorial world, I discovered the art of using them to complement my style. In my opinion, sartorial accessories include pocket square, neckwear, cufflinks, collar bars, tie bars, and lapel pins. Usually we see this kind of fancy accessory on the groom and his comrades on a wedding day. But when you step into this world, they'll become another aspect you probably can't live without. My recommendation for sartorial accessory is to stick with basic yet high quality items. Now, here comes the last aspect and perhaps the most intriguing part: the mid-century continental cut. As I once mentioned, modern skinny fit trousers are uncomfortable. But actually, that kind of modern skinny fit is not limited to trousers, but extends to all menswear these days. Jackets, shirts, t-shirts, it seems like every inch of fabric must be close to the body muscle. Looks like the modern fitness industry has not only influenced athleisure wear, but also fitting of menswear garments as a whole. But anyway, when I tried my high-waisted trousers, it introduced me to different kinds of cuts. At first, I thought this was a classic cut from the Golden Age films I watched, but it isn't, because those cutting is more fuller, both trousers and jackets. Unfortunately, although it fits well and has perfect proportions, modern perception have convinced men that this kind of Golden Age cutting is baggy. But after being exposed to dozens of French New Wave films starring Alain Delon and Marcello Mastroianni, and watching all 7 seasons of Mad Men, I realized my preference lie with the mid-century continental cut, the middle pathway between the sophisticated drape and comfort of the Golden Age while maintaining a contemporary sense. The garments with this kind of cut are tapered towards the body more than the Golden Age cut, but not too tight and close to the muscle like modern skinny cuts. If you wonder what this cut looks like, you can search for French or Italian mid-century films like Blanc Soleil starring Alain Delon in his peak beauty, or La Dolce Vita starring Marcello Mastroianni in his prime to see this cut in action. Or just watch Mad Men to see how this cut influenced American style in the mid-century. But gentlemen, here lies the true beauty of the sartorial world. Since the mid-century continental cut leans toward a slim lapel jacket and flat front trousers with no cuff hem, if I stick strictly to the idea, I will have to sacrifice my affection for the Golden Age aesthetic of wide lapels and pleated trousers with hem cuffs. In the sartorial world, we champion individuality. For me, I combine the fitting of the mid-century continental cut with the glamorous details of the Golden Age. This way, I can have both the fitting I prefer and the details I admire from the Golden Age of menswear. In the end, the sartorial landscape is yours to explore, and you are the one wearing the clothes, not the clothes wearing you. With these 6 aspects I have personally learned and embraced over several years of my sartorial journey. From leather footwear on daily basis, high-waisted pleat trousers with cuffed hems, high-quality tailoring jacket, sophisticated natural fabrics, subtle sartorial accessories, and the mid-century continental cut. They have transformed my style and my self-perception as a whole, allowing me to tap into the essence of a classic gentleman. And if you really want to start dressing in this style but are afraid of social pressure and complexity of the sartorial world, feel free to check out the Elegante Ensemble and see if it's a great fit. Link in the description. But gentlemen, here's the deal. This modern world needs elegance more than ever, as you might already know. So if it means that you have to be an outlier who dress at your very best while others don't, and if it means that you need to acquire lost virtue like elegance that most people don't hold it anymore, I think that's a great courage and admirable duty as a man to do so anyway. That's all for me in this video. Gentlemen, as ever, thank you so much for your time and I hope to see you in the next video. Have a great day.